Rob Bonta live in San Francisco. Mr. Attorney General, welcome back to The Story Is.
Good evening, Alex. Thanks for having me.
Governor Newsom says he wants the money back. How does that work? Is that for the state? Is that for consumers? How's that go?
First, I agree with him. The Trump administration, as determined by the U.S. Supreme Court today in their opinion, has indicated that Trump's tariffs that he imposed against essentially every one of our trade partners were unlawful. And importers had to foot the bill, businesses, U.S. businesses. And so they've had to pay tariffs that were unlawful. They've had to give that money, and the federal government has held that money for weeks and months. So they deserve their money back with interest. How do they get it? Well, generally, there's a Court of International Trade process where they can bring a refund action and show how much they paid, show the bills, show the payments, show the payments that they've made with respect to the unlawful tariffs and get a refund.
Do you think that's going to work? And if it doesn't, are there actions you're willing to take to make sure that happens?
I mean, it's because so many importers, American businesses were harmed and hurt. There's going to be a high volume of claimants who, the number of victimized by Trump's unlawful tariffs are enormous. So that can slow down the process. I think there is a role to play for Congress to efficiently and expeditiously move the refunds back into the pockets of business people. The money is sitting there in different pots of funds that Trump likes to talk about. It's illegally gotten, and he needs to give it back to the American businesses that he's taken it from.
So you were in the Supreme Court for the tariffs hearing. You watched all this happen. You were with us on the show after that. You thought that this would be the way that this went based off of the hearing. Yeah. And yet President Trump seemed really surprised with his press conference today and was very upset with the court. What did you make of that whole thing and the way that he lashed out?
He definitely lashed out. It seemed like he was having a temper tantrum of some type, not very becoming of the president of the United States. He must be in denial. I think maybe everyone but him saw this coming. If you were in the courtroom, if you follow the arguments, if you follow the law, you follow the facts, if you saw the questions from the bench of the justices, if you saw his Solicitor General perform in the oral argument, you knew this was coming. This is exactly what I expected. Like exactly, the opinion tracks our arguments that California made with our first state in the nation case that we brought last April. And the alignment of the justices, the 6 justices that were part of the majority, are the exact 6 I thought it would be, based on their questions, based on their statements. So anyone who didn't see this coming in this way has their head in the sand or is in some sort of denial. It's unfortunate that he went on, Trump, to attack the justices that were part of the majority. They did exactly what they're supposed to do. Follow the facts, follow the law, let the chips fall where they may, even if it means that a president's tariff policy, what he said was his centerpiece economic policy, is struck down. If it's unlawful, it should be struck down. And it wasn't even close here. It was clearly unlawful. And the U.S. Supreme Court found that.
Does today and the way that the conservative Republicans, at least some of them on the court, acted, does that make you feel better about our system, about checks and balances, about American democracy?
Call me hardwired hopeful. I always thought it was going to be this way, that if you have the facts presented to you, if you apply the law as it exists, then they will find for us most of the time. And they have. The courts generally, 80% of the time. The U.S. Supreme Court, when we have fully briefed arguments in front of them, where there's briefing and amicus and an argument and back and forth from the bench, we've won on major cases. We won on National Guard. We won on Prop 50. Those didn't have the full briefings I just mentioned, but they did have really substantive engagement. And we won on tariffs. This is a centerpiece policy, but it goes to the point that no one is above the law and everyone must follow it. And if you break the law, those actions will be struck down. And that's what happened here. And I was grateful to see 3 justices on the conservative side of the bench, Roberts and Gorsuch and Barrett, all be part of the majority opinion.
While I've got you, a quick question about a press release that you put out today saying that your office is taking a, quote, close look at the proposed Warner Brother mergers, potentially with Netflix or with Paramount. Big deal for the entertainment industry, big deal for California. Of course, Warner Brothers owns CNN, at least right now. What do you mean by taking a close look, and what makes you bring that issue up?
We have an ongoing role to look at corporate consolidation, to examine different deals, different acquisitions, mergers, to see if there's any anti-competitive conduct, any violation of antitrust law. It's a tried and true role, traditional role that we play, that we should play, to be a watchdog and a regulator, to make sure that there is no unlawful transactions that violate antitrust law. And so we have the authority to sue and block actions if we think that they violated the law. But the first step is to get our arms around the facts, look at the proposed deals and evaluate them, assess them, and see if there's any anti-competitive conduct here. So we're looking at both deals, Paramount and Warner Brothers, Netflix and Warner Brothers. We're looking at the relevant marketplaces, streaming and studio. And we're going to take a close look, as we should. And the people of this state, we owe it to them to make sure that there's no anti-competitive conduct that can decrease competition, raise prices, and harm the economy and consumers.
And you haven't found any evidence of that so far?
Well, we're just starting to look.
Yeah.
And so, when you get your get under the hood, you don't know what you'll find. And so
Sure.
we're at the early stages.
Rob Bonta joining us from San Francisco. Thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks for having me, as always.